Thanks for joining. And today, what I want to share actually 3 of our core strategies with you in about 30 minutes. We have an hour together, and I wanted to run through these quickly. Now, for those for the first time, a bit about us here at Trading. Now, in today's presentation, I wanted to share with you the same money manuals that my other traders here use on a daily basis. I do this in every presentation. It's one good set of rules you can use with any strategy. I'm then going to share with you my favorite trade set, our winning momentum strategy, the veracity system. And then, of course, time permitting, as many options as we can. So hopefully everyone can hear me clearly and seen. Let's carry on. One quick poll question. Many of you have seen me present at an event or a webinar such as this before. Type a yes or no into your chat box. And then we'll grab a quick drink. Thank you. Awesome. Okay. It can be extremely risky if you don't know what you're doing. So please do not trade with 301 until you are completely comfortable with the system that you are using. This is how we try to reduce our exposure, our risks. The first rule, I'm sure you've heard many, many times. It is worth repeating when you afford to lose, but really what it's all about is trading with an amount that's completely insignificant to you. In other words, when it is much more important how you manage a trade once you're in it than it is about selecting. And once you're in a trade, you need to be able to remain calm and think clearly and appropriately. Worried about the amount of money you have in there, you simply won't be able to do that. Now, we never risk more than 5% of our account balance in any one larger account. You should consider reducing this to 2.5% or even 2%. You'll still have a sizable trade on, but you'll be reducing your risk considerably. Also, never have more than 50% of your account balance active in the market. Reason being, many factors when it comes to the markets that are completely out of our control, and any announcement can really drive the markets against us. So, number one, this will happen, but number two, you'll still have a bit back into the market and make back that loss should it happen. And also, you should be very selective with your trades. You know, we've seen a lot of volatility in markets, but many days where the Dow, the S&P is up strongly one day, next. Well, on a day where the markets are trending strongly, you're going to get many sets, you're going to put multiple trades on, and the very next day, the market pulls back. You're going to be off the bat. That's exactly what you want to avoid. You want to spread your trades out and select probability trade setups for that time frame. A couple of that we have, excuse me. Number one, you will never go broke. Take every one of our systems, we try to limit our risk as much as possible. Will allow you to be successful over time. And always remember, trading about whether you're right or wrong, that's important, but it is all you make when you're right versus how much money you lose when you're wrong. So, we don't have a lot of time together today, so let me bring up my life and watch one. Okay, favorite trade setup. Give me 1 second here while I bring up. You should be seeing my Thinkorswim form with a chart of computer. So this system only has one indicator, the 20 period. We have tested this with exponential weighted moving averages over the years, and we've been trading with this for over a decade. We find the moving average to work best. And we have that in blue here. Now, that's the only way to use it. This system is based solely on trend and momentum for technical analysis. So, number one, we're looking for stock, and number two, we're looking for momentum in our favor. Now, the way we read momentum is by the slope of either the candles. Now, the reason we use the 20-period moving average is because during periods, consolidated pullback, such as this, it's easy to take pullback as downward momentum. But if you see that the 20-period moving average remains intact, in other words, that slope is intact, then that means that helps you understand that this is just temporary before a continuation of that move higher. And when it comes to move, you can have slight momentum in your favor, or you can have very significant. In other words, the higher that slope in your favor, the stronger that slope, the better. It's exactly the same to the downside. The more significant that slope low of the moving average, the stronger that stock is trending and the momentum in favor. So let me show you what the setup will look like. What you're going to be looking for is a nice slope higher. Again, then you're going to be looking for some kind of retracement or consolidation. And it's at this point, a reversal signal to tell you that this retracement is over and that is going to higher. Now, that reversal signal comes in a pattern. And there is a difference between the setup trigger actually gets you into the trade. For the purposes of the setup, at the bodies of the candles, not the wicks or the tails, just the bodies. What you need to see is that the body of the candle on the right completely all the body of the candle on the left. They can actually be at the same level, but the one on the left cannot exceed the body of the candle on the right. Okay? Once you have that, you have a reversal signal. And then to trigger you into the trade, you want to see a trade above the high of this bar. Tick above. And it's above the absolute high, including the wicks. You go long, your stop goes just below the low of the same. Risk is always contained to the range of that one candle. For the opposite, you're looking for a sharp move lower, some kind of pullback trade, and then you're looking for a reversal signal to tell you that retracement is going to continue. In this case, it would be a bearish engulf. Now, it's pretty much going to look identical to the words the body of the candle on the right to completely engulf the body. Now, for a short trade, the engulfing bar should be red. Want this bar to close as close to its lows of that section as possible. The further it closes to its low, the stronger the move tends to be. And for a pattern, you want that candle to be green. Again, you want it to close as high of that period as possible. The previous candle in either any, okay? Now, again, to trigger, this is a valid setup to the downside trigger, and will be a trade one tick below the apps of the stop will go just above the high. Okay, so here back in October, we had Apple trending nicely. Here, nice and strong. And then it consolidates for about a week. Trade sideways. Waiting for a reversal signal, a clear reversal signal. It's over, and that move is going to continue. And right in here, in a moment, for those of you working on a smaller screen, okay? Telling us that consolidation is over, and that trend is cool. Actually, let me redraw this. It's these two here. You can see that the body of the candle on the right here, the body of the candle on the left. We're then looking for a trade above the top here, in the very next bar, and our stop goes just below. Okay, so look at the risk you have on. Very small range bar compared to potential reward there. Okay, and no one says no one's expecting you to get a move. No one can predict exactly when this is going to turn around, but even getting a portion of the amount of risk you have now, when you're at this point, when you see this, there are a couple that you need to remember. Number one is once you have a valid setup and you're waiting for that trade above, this were to trade below low first, it would be disqualified or negated. Mention that one rule will help you avoid most losses you have with this. In other words, most of the trades that would not work out with this are not even losers or negated trades. Okay, the second rule is that if you get two more balls, then and it still has not traded qualified. Okay. Reason being, the momentum must not finish. Okay. So this time frame, okay, any market, stocks, futures, Forex, really doesn't matter. Anything you can plot a chart on, it works. I'll show you examples of our disqualified trade. So here on stock trade trending lower, and I'm zooming up here, but back in here, off this board was a bearish engulfing. Okay? And so what we were waiting for as our trigger just above of that bar. Instead, it trades above the high first. See? So we disqualify that. A few days later, there's another setup right in here. Again, when you get that bearish engulfing bar, you want it to be red, but the previous color can be red or green. Doesn't really matter. But in this case, the next two bars complete, and it still has not traded below that low. So again, it's disqualified. Okay. Longer, now we get rewarded. Here's our next setup. This time, we do get a valid trigger. A trade below the low, just below the low of that engulfing bar. There's our entry, short. Our stop goes just above the high, okay, and off it goes. The other thing you're going to notice is that it tends to move in your favor immediately once it triggers, which is huge for a couple of reasons. One, we talked earlier about how important it is to remain calm and think clearly when you're managing a trade. Well, if it's moving in your favor and you're in profit, it's going to be very easy to do so. The other thing is that if you're trading options, you open a position. If that trade goes against you, then trying to make back that loss in premium is going to require a much greater move in your favor. But if it moves in your favor right away, that's huge. Okay? And you can see that once you have momentum in your favor, you get that pullback, you will get many setups along that extended move. Okay? There'll be several setups. So what you can do is, if you're like me, more conservative, you can maintain your position off that move and just use every subsequent move or entry as confirmation that you're in the right trade and you should hold on a little longer, or you can add to your position at every new setup if you are a more aggressive trader. Okay? I'll give you one more example and then we'll move on to our next strategy. So here's a chart of Starbucks, a stock that trends very nicely. And I want to show you a couple of trades here, help you understand the difference between this one here, and I'll zoom in a moment. There's one there, and then there's another one in here. Okay? Let's just zoom in a little. So can anyone tell me the difference between this trade or this trade? Well, in the interest of time, I'll tell you, it's the range of that engulfing bar. Look at the small range of the engulfing bar compared to this one, right? So the range of that engulfing bar determines your level of risk. And that's why the smaller the bar, the better. And in our experience, it does not limit the potential upside, okay? It's huge. But in the long run, what you'll find with this system is that not only will you have more winners than losers, but trader losers, okay? If there's any questions, I'll take them near the end of the presentation. I really want to fit in the other two strategies before I leave today. So the next one I want to show you is momentum strategy. This is another one that we have that strictly on trend and momentum, but we do use some additional indicators here. We still use the 20-period simple moving average. We use it in just about every system we have, but we also use the Ichimoku cloud indicator. Now, albeit a very stripped down, include all the other lines. We only use the cloud portion, and we do so for trend. Okay. Now, we do use the default setting for this, which is 9 and 26. We just remove the other lines. And what we're looking for, the way we identify trend here, is if the candles and the moving average are above the cloud, we consider that an uptrend. If they're both below the cloud, we consider it a downtrend. And if one or both are overlapping the cloud, then we're in a consolidating market that we do not want to trade in, unless, of course, we're using delta neutral option strategies like an iron condor, for example. Okay. Now, so similar to the other system, we're looking for trend and momentum. Trend clearly depicted by the cloud. Momentum, again, by the slope of either the candles or that moving average. So once we have trend and momentum in our favor, the way we find our entry points here is with the RSI, or the relative strength index indicator. Now, this is an indicator that's normally used to identify extreme areas of overbought and oversold conditions. Typically, it has a setting of 14. It's pretty standard on most charting platforms. And you'll find the line at the 30 and the 70 levels to identify those overbought and oversold conditions. We like to use it a little different. First of all, we change the setting to 7. We cut that in half. We want a much more responsive RSI. And secondly, we remove the lines from 70 and 30, and we plot one right down the middle at the 50 level. So it's an RSI 7 with a line drawn at the 50 level. And the way we use this is this. Once we have trend, meaning both candles, moving average above that cloud, and we have a sharp slope in our favor, we have momentum, we then turn our attention to the RSI. And for a long trade, what we're looking for is a move from above the 50 line, back to it or just below, and then across back above. And when it crosses back above the 50 line, that's our setup candle. Okay? So in other words, in this example, happens to be this candle here. Okay? This candle. You'll see that if I hover over this candle here, we were still below the 50 at that point. Once I move here, we're now back above the 50. Okay? So that's our setup candle. So when we have a valid setup, what are we looking for? We're looking for a trade above the high, one tick above, which we get the next day. That'll get us in. Now, unlike the other system, we don't put our stop just below the same candle, the low of the same candle. We take the most recent low. Okay, so the most recent low cannot be the same candle. It's typically 1 or 2 candles behind, sometimes a little more. So our risk is still contained. But the reason why we do that is sometimes the RSI will take a double dip. Okay, and I'll try to show you an example of that in a moment. But so when you get that double dip, meaning it's like the letter W, those are typically some of your strongest setups. Okay, I'll show you one in a moment. But then once you're triggered in, then it's just a matter of managing that trade. Okay, let's zoom out and show you. And again, during a sustained trend with many pullbacks, you're going to get another opportunity to enter. Here's another one right here. This was our setup bar right here. Okay. Trade above the high. Okay, right here on the very next candle, and off it goes. So these are powerful setups that we've been using for many, many years to all different types of market environments, and they work consistently. Why? Because it's trend and momentum. That's all it is. When you're trading with trend and momentum, more than half the battle is already won. Okay, let's look at some examples to the downside, shorting examples. Here's USO, which is the ETF for oil. Here, candles and moving average are below the cloud. That's a downtrend. As soon as we pick up momentum, meaning we have that significant slope lower, we then turn our attention to the RSI. And you'll see that here, it came back to that 50, right in here, and then turned lower. So again, it doesn't matter how far above 50 it gets. What matters is that when it crosses back below, what matters is that you still have that slope in that 20-period moving average. If it goes too far, it will start flattening out and even turning in the opposite direction. If that happens, like it did down here, okay, that means you've lost momentum. So you no longer want to take that trade. You want to make sure that it's in your favor. But here, as you'll see, let me mark up the setup candle for you, which was this one. Okay, we're then looking for a trade below the low, which we got on the very next candle. Okay, and off it goes. Very straightforward, very simple to spot on a chart. Okay, and very easy to use and manage. So sometimes the momentum will be so strong you won't even get any pullbacks. Okay, but typically along a stretch like that, you will get several. Now the other thing to look for is this. You see how this 20-period moving average moves from one side of the cloud to the other with momentum, with a significant slope? That is key. That's your heads up, okay, of a change in direction, meaning typically when you get a move with that kind of slope through the cloud, it tends to lead to an extended move in that direction. Okay? So this was a clear heads up here, and then along this way there's several opportunities to enter. Again, back here, we came back within the cloud and moved out of it with momentum. Okay, and here's a double dip. Here's that W pattern right in here. Okay, and off it goes. Okay, so very simple, easy to spot, very clear to see, but very, very effective and consistent. You don't have to take my word for it. You can pull up any chart you want, be it futures, Forex, stocks. It really doesn't matter. See for yourself. Go back and look at these pullbacks, and you'll see just how well this works. Just about every single pullback that triggers with that RSI is a successful trade. Okay. Let me see if we can give you a few more examples here. How are we doing on time? Can I just get a time check? We're okay? I do want to fit in that last setup. Okay. So, again, here's a chart of Freeport McMoran, FCX. And these setups here, nice and easy. Beautiful, strong momentum in your favor, a nice orderly pullback. There's that RSI, above, back, below, there's your entry, and off it goes. Now, once you're in that trade, you no longer have to worry about the RSI. And you really don't need to look at it anymore, you know, whether it comes back and forth and crosses, unless you have the intention of adding to your position along every new setup, okay? So let's now talk about our third setup here. Give me one quick second. I'll bring that up for you. And this is my baby. It's the Veracity system. Now, this is one we recently released. The only time we've released this to the public was in a live event we had in Las Vegas last May. And this one is a much more complicated strategy. It's still based on trend and momentum. There's a lot more indicators involved, and it's a much more sophisticated strategy. But the real intent with this strategy is to make sure that we are in on the big moves. Okay, so there will be times you'll be stopped out here and there, but this will guarantee that you're in for the majority of those big moves. And we still limit our risk considerably without capping our upside. So I do not have the time to go through all the rules and all the indicators in here. We only have a few more minutes together. Okay, but we did have this programmed for Metastock. Metastock has programmed an indicator for us with this system, and I'll show you a few examples of this. Now, this, similar to our other strategies, works on any time frame. Okay, intraday, we love using the 15-minute and the hourly, but we do most of our trading on daily. And with this system, weekly and monthly. I'm going to show you several with the monthly for a few reasons. Number one, a very easy way to look at the overall market trend and spot those turnarounds is by plotting, say, the SPYs, okay? The SPY for the S&P 500. And if you look at this on a monthly, these are our setups, our triggers. So these little diamonds here that you see, that's the setup candle. And when it actually triggers, it'll plot a green arrow in here. Okay? Now there's much more to this indicator. There's the expert commentary, which will actually walk you through it and tell you where exactly to have your stop all the way through here. But just on the overall chart, it'll plot your entry and exit. So the bars will be black and white when there's no trade. Once you're in a trade, if it's a short trade, you're in red. If it's a long trade, you're in green here. But you can see that it captures the major moves. But if you're using it for overall market direction, you would have called a bull market here, and this was your end of the bull market right there. Pretty much the top of that move, okay? We had this downturn and then another long phase. And here we've been in this bull market here, okay, since June, June of 2012, and it's still going in the SPYs. Okay, so that's one simple way of doing it. Or again, you can look at it from an individual standpoint, and it is fantastic to use with retirement accounts, IRAs, long-term accounts. It makes it so easy. You spend a very, very small amount of time in front of your charts, but the performance can be phenomenal. Let me show you a few examples of this. Okay? Let's look at, I don't know, McDonald's, for example. Let's have a look at McDonald's. So here's McDonald's, and this was a trade that I call a long buy here in around the $30 level. got us out up here, pretty much double, around 61 or so. Okay, and then calls another one. There's a quick stop out in here. Okay, we will run across this every once in a while because we want to make sure that we're in for the majority of the big moves. And this was the next one here. Okay, getting us in right around that 59 area, out way up here, and it was in around 87 or so. Okay, so some big moves, but very easy to manage and stay in it. This indicator also helps you stay very disciplined. So these are our core strategies that we use. I'll show you a few more, and then I'm going to open it up and ask you to type in a symbol or two so we can run through a few symbols together if we have time. Okay, so you can see exactly how well these works. But these are our core strategies that we use with our membership group and our trade alert. So let me just go back to my presentation here, and I just want to wrap up and summarize, and then we'll answer some questions and go through some symbols. Okay, so I just want to summarize what I've shown you. These strategies, again, will work on any market, stock, options, futures, Forex, globally, any exchange, any time frame, any price level. You saw just how easy they are to spot on a chart. They all tend to move in your favor immediately after a trigger. Okay, and one of the real nice parts is that with the rules we wrap around it, the majority of the trades that don't work out are not even losers, they're just negated trades, okay? So we will get to all your questions, but let me tell you, let me give you a special offer today. These, we issue trade alerts on all these setups, okay? Our favorite trade setup, our winning momentum strategy, and our veracity system, which again is my baby. And in our membership, our pro membership service, we offer all of this along with premium Sunday to Thursday, which is really the best way to have access to all our systems and learn how to use them. It's an educational tool. And we also have a members-only weekly chat. We had our most recent one this morning. It happens every Thursday from 10 to 11 a.m. They're all recorded if you can't make that time slot. But you get to come into our room, ask me any trade-related question you like on any of the systems. They're fantastic sessions. Okay? And as a bonus, we're offering 2 months of free Metastock Pro service so that you can try out Metastock and have a look at that indicator. Altogether, this is a deal worth over $2,600, but all we're interested today is having you try out and join our team here at Trading Wins. All this for just $27. We just want to give you a look at what we do. A 30-day trial membership for just $27. During those 30 days, you're going to get those premium nightly videos. You're going to have access to our weekly chats. You're going to get the 2 months of Metastock Pro, and you're going to get all our trade alerts from our favorite trade setup, our winning momentum strategy, and our veracity system. Every night in our premium nightly videos, there's usually at least 1 or 2 trades that we highlight for you, and these have been working extremely well in today's market. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in our coaching and educational coordinator, Raul. He's going to help me read off some questions and some symbols. I know we don't have much time left, but we'll try to squeeze in as much as we can. Raul?
It's always a pleasure to be on with you. I've got probably a couple of hours worth of symbols that we can do, but let's see if we can get through as many as we can.
It's as many as we can.
For the first one that you did, that favorite trade setup, can we take a look at Apple, please?
Sure. So let me go back here. So Apple right now, you can see, has come through. Actually, let me go back to this. It's taken a real beating off their latest earnings announcement, and is picking up steam to the downside. You can see this momentum is starting to really slope much lower here. So all we're waiting for now is a pullback and a reversal signal in the form of a bearish engulfing pattern to take that next leg down. But this is one that trends nicely when it gets going. This was that example I showed you previous here, and you will get some very nice setups off of Apple. There was one right in here. This is the most recent one right in here that triggered and just took off to the downside.
I know summer is generally a slow time for trading, but for us it's actually been quite busy.
It's been great, yeah.
And the systems have been working quite well. Which of the three has been the most effective over the last few months?
They all have been, but simpler is always better. Our favorite trade setup has been extremely consistent lately.
A lot of the folks missed that slide that you had on how to order.
Sorry. Yeah, let me bring that up. There it is. This is everything you get. You get trade alerts on all three systems. You get our premium nightly videos. You get access to our weekly members chat. You also get access to a library of all our past educational sessions that you can watch at your leisure. You get 2 months of free Metastock Pro, all for just $27. The link is tradingwinds.com/August. I believe it's in the chat. We can put it in the chat for you. You just click from there. We really want to give you a chance to see what we do here. We're quite proud of it, and we think you're going to love it. And for $27, with all the trade setups that we give you, trying to make that back is really a no-brainer.
Ben's asking, in the trade setups that we get every night, I'm assuming it's every night.
Well, in our videos we highlight trades constantly. Yes.
Do you provide entries, exits, and stops?
Yes, and targets throughout the way. That's right. We provide all of that.
Does Vince generally trade on large cap stocks, or would they be stocks that I may have trouble getting liquidity in?
Oh no, we do focus on very liquid issues. Although we do look at not only stocks but ETFs, futures, Forex, all of that.
Mark's asking, how much does Vince trade Forex?
It's not a huge part of what I do, but having said that, there's some key currency pairs that we've been following that I monitor every night in the videos. One of them is the Japanese yen that we follow consistently. Lately, the USD CAD pair, we've been all over. There's been a fantastic setup, especially on the monthly on that pair, and I think it's just the start of that move, and we're going to be all over that.
Charlene says, Vince, excellent teaching as always. I love the simplicity of your systems. Can I use these systems on 15-minute chart and hourly charts?
Yes, you can.
She's specifically referring to the favorite trade setup.
Yes, absolutely. Again, it's based solely on technical analysis. It works on all time frames. We actually have many of our members using it to trade the S&P E-minis on a 5-minute chart, but the 15-minute and the hourly work great.
Andre is asking, how much attention does Vince pay to volume when picking out his trades?
I don't pay attention a whole lot to volume. I pay more attention to the spread between the bid and the ask, and especially on the options when I'm trading those. But this setup has proven itself through all types of market environments, again, over many, many years. Volume is really not an issue when it comes to this.
Livia is asking, is there any kind of long-term agreement with this offer?
No. So let me tell you, at the end of the 30 days with this, if you're enjoying it, you don't need to do anything. It'll just automatically renew at $97 a month. But if you'd rather not, just give us a call and we'll put a stop to it. We call it the world's easiest cancellation policy. And I want to answer a question. Someone was asking if these strategies also work on MT4 platform. Again, the charting platform really doesn't matter. The indicators are widely available on most platforms. So yes, you can use this on any platform.
Frank is asking, he's interested in getting the 2 months of Metastock Pro. How does he get it? Frank, if you can put, and any of you who are interested in it, just put your request in the chat box here, or send us an email to info@tradingwinds.com. We'll put that in the chat box and we'll get you all set up on it. It's very easy. It takes less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's very, very straightforward, and they also have great support if you ever need it.
Okay, Frank is also saying, I work on Thursdays, for the market chats. Will the sessions be recorded?
Yes, they are, and many of our members who can't attend just email in their questions to us ahead of time. I then answer those throughout the session, and then when you go back and watch the recording, you'll have your answer.
Lenny says, if I sign up today, will I get access to previous market videos as well, or do I only get access to videos starting today?
No, you will actually get access to our library of our educational sessions. It's hundreds of hours of video on our site that you can access.
Eric is saying, does Veracity work on MT4? Veracity is an exclusive product with Metastock.
Yes, well, it can, absolutely. Again, I didn't have time to go over the whole strategy with you here today, but you can certainly use that. And again, I just want to make the point that we really are giving this away. I mean, I've covered 3 strategies here, and all we're asking for is $27 here. If we think of this as, you know, how do you make your $27 back? I mean, even one option contract or one lot of shares, it's really no time at all.
This is this is certainly not a big moneymaker for you.
No, it's not.
More...
That's not the intent. We're just trying to show you what we do here at Trading Wins. Yeah.
I'm just going to mention off some of the recent trades that we've had and winners on those: Yahoo, Netflix, ADP, GMCR, NUS, BHI. These are just some of the recent ones that we've looked at.
That's right.
In our nightly videos.
If we have time, I can run through a few. If we have time, I don't know. Let's quickly see. BHI was right from here. This was actually a setup that's set up on multiple systems, meaning it was a setup on 2 out of 3 or all 3 actually right from here, and we wrote it down all the way here. One of our members actually got out on this day here, went down here in the 53, 54 area. Fantastic. What were the other ones? Yahoo was one of the more recent ones, and it was right in here, okay, right in here. This was our target down here that we set, easily met. Wasn't an NUS was a huge one for us recently. That one was from up in here, okay? See how simple and easy? How easy would that be to manage? That was just a beautiful collapse. This was our first piece that we took on that trade and then continued on. What else do we have? Oh, Netflix recently. This was a beauty. It only took like 2 days to work out. Right in here was our setup. Boom, off it went. It's just been one after the other. Again, no rocket science here, no secret sauce. What it is trend and momentum. That's all it is.
You like to keep things simple. All these systems are easy to follow for beginners.
Yep.
Options trading. How much of this can you apply to options trading?
Oh,
obviously you need to figure out what's happening with the security first.
No, but what I really like about options is that you can really use options to reduce your risk. Okay, so I mean, first of all, your risk is capped to the range of the 1 bar in this system, which is, you know, really reducing your risk to begin with. But then, if you're buying a call option, for example, you're only paying a fraction for that call option. So you're limited it even more without capping your upside, which is great.
Linda's asking, do you wait for the price to go below the 20 SMA before going short?
No, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether the 20, whether the pullback ends in front of the 20, it overlaps the 20, or goes beyond the 20. What matters is that at the time that the setup completes, that you still have that slope in the 20. That's what matters. You still want to make sure you have momentum on your side. Okay.
Mark C is asking, how long are the nightly videos?
The nightly videos, the pro nightly videos, have been ranging from, I'd say, 7 to about 12 minutes or so every night. I recap the major indices, go through our open positions, and highlight new positions and new trends that I think we need to follow in the markets.
Reed is telling me that we have 1 minute left, so I'm just going to ask you, why do you do this? What do you enjoy most about teaching?
Well, that's what I enjoy, is teaching, because trading can be boring. I always tell my students that I actually hope they get bored, because boring means you're making money. What technical analysis is all about is finding a pattern that repeats itself, and then you need to repeat it. So once you have it, like our favorite trade setup, it's just rinse and repeat, same thing over and over again. So it's going to get boring, but that means profits. So teaching really helps you not only stay in touch with the markets, but breaks up the routine.
I just wanted to remind everyone, if you want to try out the service, 30 days, $27, less than $1 a day to get fantastic trades every day of the week. TradingWins.com/August. You get trades from favorite trade setup, Veracity, winning momentum strategy, and if you want none of those, even if you just want a 60-day trial to Metastock for free, sign up and it's all yours.
Yeah, even our weekly chats. If there's something you're having trouble with, a challenge with your trading, come and join our session. Ask me the question. I'll try to help you any way that I can.
I'm here with you every day of the week. I think this is amazing value, folks. I hope you will try it out.
I'm giving it away, really, honestly. Just, come and try it out. Don't take our word for it. You'll see just how well these actually do work.
I want to thank Reed and the wonderful folks over at Investor Inspiration for putting on these sessions and for inviting us to present at these sessions. Really do appreciate it. Vince, last word.
Yeah, thanks again for everyone and to everyone for being with us today. It was a pleasure, again, being here. Thanks to Reed and everyone else at Investor Inspiration for having me back. Hope we can do this again very soon.